The Marvel Cinematic Universe didn't just conclude with the fall of Thanos. It shattered into a million different possibilities. What we initially perceived as a definitive victory in Avengers Endgame was, in reality, the opening of a Pandora's box that would redefine the very nature of existence. Following the snap, the world was left in a vacuum, and it was the overwhelming weight of grief that first began to tear the fabric of reality. Wanda Maximoff, a woman who had lost everything, became the catalyst for this new era. In her desperation to escape a world without vision, she didn't just mourn, she created. By enslaving an entire town and forcing them into a sitcom fantasy, she manifested a reality where her family was alive. But this wasn't just a local anomaly. It was the birth of the Scarlet Witch and the discovery of the Darkhold, a cursed book that shifted her path from a grieving widow to a multiversal threat. While magic was brewing in Westview, the grounded world was struggling with its own identity crisis. The question of who would carry the shield after Steve Rogers became a global debate. Sam Wilson's initial hesitation to become the new Captain America allowed the government to intervene, leading to the rise and fall of John Walker. This era showed us that the title isn't just about the super soldier serum, it's about the conviction to do what is right. Amidst the chaos of the Flag Smashers, Sam finally accepted his destiny, proving that the legacy of the Shield could evolve. Yet, while Earth was focused on its new hero, the God of Mischief was discovering that time itself was a cage. The 2012 version of Loki, who escaped with the Tesseract, was apprehended by the Time Variance Authority. This introduced us to the concept of the sacred timeline and the mysterious figures who controlled it. Through Loki and his variant Sylvie, we learned that the reality we knew was carefully curated by He Who Remains. When Sylvie made the fateful choice to kill him, the multiverse didn't just branch, it fractured uncontrollably. In the wake of this temporal collapse, the MCU took a moment to look back at the legacies that built it. We revisited the hidden history of Natasha Romanoff, discovering the trauma of the Red Room and the family she had before the Avengers. This wasn't just a prequel, it was a passing of the torch to Yelena Belova. Simultaneously, a new power was rising in the East. Shang-Chi's journey from a valet in San Francisco to the wielder of the Ten Rings brought ancient mysticism into the modern day. We saw the downfall of the real Mandarin Wenwu and the emergence of a protector who bridged the gap between the mundane and the magical. But even as new heroes rose, ancient ones emerged from the shadows. The Eternals, cosmic beings who had watched humanity for thousands of years, finally broke their silence. Their emergence revealed that Earth was merely an incubator for a celestial, and their intervention prevented the destruction of the planet, even if it meant defying their creator, Orisham. Back on the streets, the holiday season brought its own set of challenges for Clint Barton. The mantle of Hawkeye was no longer just about survival. It was about mentorship. Meeting Kate Bishop allowed Clint to finally confront his past as Ronin while dealing with the resurfacing threat of Kingpin and the vengeful arrival of Yelena. But while the Archers were cleaning up New York, Peter Parker was about to make a mistake that would change his life forever. Exposed by Mysterio and desperate to regain his anonymity, Peter turned to Doctor Strange. The resulting spell went catastrophically wrong, dragging villains from across the multiverse into his world. This culminated in a legendary union of 3 different Spider-Men, a moment that served as both a celebration of cinematic history and a tragic turning point for the MCU's Peter Parker. By the end, he was forgotten by everyone he loved, forced to become a hero in the truest, loneliest sense of the word. The exploration of the psyche continued with the arrival of Moon Knight. Stephen Grant, a mild-mannered gift shop employee, discovered he shared a body with mercenary Mark Spector and served as the avatar for the Egyptian god Khonshu. This series pushed the boundaries of mental health and mysticism, introducing a third, more violent personality, Jake Lockley. While Moon Knight operated in the shadows, Doctor Strange was thrust into a nightmare of his own making. America Chavez, a teenager with the power to punch through dimensions, became the target of a corrupted Scarlet Witch. Wanda's descent into villainy was absolute as she tore through the Illuminati and different universes to find her children. It took a horrifying realization of her own monstrous actions for her to finally stop, supposedly burying herself under Mount Wundagore. Strange, however, was left with a third eye, a physical manifestation of the dark path he had walked. As the universe expanded, new voices began to emerge. Kamala Khan brought a youthful energy to Jersey City, discovering her heritage through a magical bangle that ultimately hinted at her being a mutant, a word that sent shockwaves through the fandom. Meanwhile, in the cosmos, Thor was facing a midlife crisis that turned into a battle for the gods. Gorr, the God Butcher's rampage, forced Thor to reunite with Jane Foster, who had become the mighty Thor. Their battle against Gorr was a story of love, loss, and the responsibility of power, ending with Thor adopting Gorr's daughter, Love. On Earth, the legal world was turned upside down by Jennifer Walters. After an accidental blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce, she became She-Hulk. Her story broke the fourth wall entirely, even confronting the AI Kevin to rewrite her own finale, reminding us that the MCU isn't afraid to poke fun at its own tropes. However, the tone shifted back to solemnity with the passing of King T'Challa. Wakanda Forever was a meditation on grief and the birth of a new protector. Shuri's journey from a grieving sister to the new Black Panther was paved with conflict against Namor, the ruler of the underwater kingdom of Talokan. The two nations nearly destroyed each other before finding a fragile peace, leaving Shuri to carry her brother's legacy into a new era. But peace is always fleeting in the MCU. Scott Lang and his family were soon pulled into the quantum realm, coming face to face with Kang the Conqueror. While Kang appeared to be defeated, the threat he represented was only the beginning. The paranoia left within Scott served as a warning that the multiverse was far more dangerous than they ever imagined. The theme of finality continued with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Their final adventure was a deeply personal one, focused on the tragic origins of Rocket Raccoon. Facing the High Evolutionary, the team proved that they were more than just a band of misfits. They were a family. This chapter saw the original team go their separate ways, with Peter returning to Earth and Rocket leading a new iteration of the Guardians. Back on Earth, the stakes were grounded but high. Nick Fury returned to handle a Skrull invasion that had been brewing for decades. Secret Invasion revealed that even the most trusted figures could be imposters, leading to a new status quo where aliens were viewed with extreme hostility. This paranoia set the stage for a new political landscape, even as Loki was busy saving the entire multiverse from the outside. Loki's second journey was perhaps the most significant in the entire saga. Alongside Mobius and the quirky OB, he navigated the collapse of the temporal loom. Realizing that the only way to save reality was through ultimate sacrifice, Loki gave up his freedom and his desire for a throne to become the god of stories. He now sits at the center of the multiverse, holding the timelines together with his own will. This monumental shift allowed the multiverse to stabilize, but it didn't stop the threats within it. The Marvels saw Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, and Kamala Khan team up to stop a Kree revolutionary, resulting in Monica being trapped in another universe populated by the X-Men. This was the most direct hint yet that the walls between realities were completely falling. As the world moved forward, smaller stories began to fill the gaps. Maya Lopez confronted her past with Kingpin in a story of ancestral power and redemption. This grounded conflict led directly into a new political era, where Wilson Fisk set his sights on becoming the mayor of New York. But the most explosive entry came from the most unlikely duo: Deadpool and Wolverine. Their multiversal road trip wasn't just a meta-commentary on the film industry. It was a desperate mission to save their respective realities from a void where forgotten heroes go to die. Their success ensured that the Fox-era characters had a place in the MCU, but it also left the multiverse more unstable than ever. This instability was further explored in Westview once again, as Agatha Harkness clawed her way back to power, leading a new coven down the Witch's Road and discovering the reincarnation of Wanda's son, Billy. Now the MCU stands at the precipice of its most ambitious chapter yet. Sam Wilson is officially taking flight as Captain America, facing a world that is politically charged and physically transforming. With the return of characters like the Leader and the transformation of President Ross into Red Hulk, the Avengers must be rebuilt from the ground up. In the dark corners of New York, Daredevil is returning to face a Mayor Fisk, who has outlawed vigilantism, promising a brutal and grounded conflict. And yet, the greatest shift is coming from across the stars. The Fantastic Four are set to debut from an alternate 1960s reality, escaping the hunger of Galactus only to find themselves in our world. Their arrival brings with it a shadow that has been looming over the entire saga. The final pieces are falling into place with the assembly of the Thunderbolts, a team of anti-heroes and reformed villains who are the government's answer to a world without Avengers. Their mission against a mysterious and powerful Sentry will test their loyalty and their humanity. But as these heroes and anti-heroes navigate their own paths, a new figure is waiting in the wings. A figure whose intellect and power dwarf anything they have faced before. From the ruins of the multiverse and the legacy of the Fantastic Four, the era of Doctor Doom is beginning. Every fracture in time, every lost hero, and every broken reality has been leading to this moment. The Multiverse Saga is no longer just about survival. It's about who will rule the remnants of existence.